Just trying to survive and learn to love along the way. By Foreplay on AO3. Episode 11, Chapter 11 of Silence and Tears. Izuku is quiet. Not the kind of quiet that Shouta has come to expect from the small kid either. Hizashi notices it too, and keeps shooting him worried glances over dinner. It looks like Shouta has to be the one to break the silence. So, Izuku, where did you learn sign language? Izuku tenses up at the question. Guess he picked the wrong conversation topic. Well, people didn't like when I talked. So I learned so I could communicate. Turns out they didn't like that either. Sometimes I find it really hard to talk. So I use sign language instead. Izuku looked worried, like he thinks they may be mad at him for this. You know, sign language is very useful for a hero to know. It means they could communicate plans without speaking and revealing their position. I never thought of it like that. Can you tell me what situations you find it hard to talk in? Izuku frowns, but answers him anyways. Well, sometimes I get really anxious and stressed out, and my throat just locks up. It happens when I'm around lots of new people, or if it gets really loud. I also can't speak when I'm really tired or sick or scared. That sounded a whole lot like selective mutism. Definitely not something his mother would have brought up to a doctor. If the kid's ever seen a doctor before he went to UA. Hell, she probably caused it. He'd have to bring it up with Recovery Girl next time he sees her. Shouta places a gentle hand on his kid's shoulder before speaking. It's okay, Izuku. We don't have to talk about this anymore. Thank you for telling me. He gets a small smile for that. Thank you. Izuku keeps his hands raised, as if he wanted to keep going. You know you can ask us anything, right, kid? Izuku blushes before he moves his hand again. Why do you guys know sign language? Is it because of how useful it is for a hero to know? Shouta glances at his husband, wondering what he'll tell Izuku. Well, listener, I had a very tough time controlling my quirk, and by the time I could, I had become almost completely deaf. I have hearing aids, and they help a ton, but I didn't for a while, and sometimes they get really annoying to wear. So, sometimes when we're at home, I take them off and rely on sign language to communicate with Sho. Hisashi looks a little sentimental at that, the topic likely bringing up bad memories. From the look on his face, and seems like Izuku noticed it too. Sorry, I didn't mean to make you feel sad. I shouldn't have asked that. Hisashi interrupts him before he could sign anything else. Hey, listener, it's alright. It's important for you to know. If I ever take off my hearing aids and don't tell you, now you know that I just can't hear you instead of thinking I'm ignoring you, which I would never do. Izuku nods, still a little unsure. He would have told you if he didn't want to, problem child. Izuku looks a little more sure of himself as he answers. Okay, I'll try to remember that. Thank you, both of you. Not a problem. Hisashi and I will clean up. Why don't you go relax with the cats for a bit? Izuku simply nods as he gets up silently from the table, and Shouta only moves once he hears the kid's bedroom door shut behind him. Do you think something happened at school today? I'm not sure. The other kids were pretty insistent that he tell them what happened. It made it pretty clear that he didn't want to talk about it, but some of them were still pretty pushy. It seems like Shinsou stepped in though, so he might help ward off some of the questions. He hopes he does. He might have to have a talk with class. He does. He might have to have a talk with the class about invading each other's privacy either way. That's not good. He looked pretty tired too, Sho. And the selective mutism is something we'll have to bring up with Recovery Girl. Shota's glad that Hisashi came to the same conclusion as him. It makes him feel a little less irrational. I think he's still in pain. We'll make sure he takes some painkillers before bed tonight, and hope that helps him a little. And I'm already planning on it. By now the dishwasher is all loaded, and the counters wiped clean, so they head to the room to change out of the hero gear before making their way over to the couch to turn on the evening news and work on some markings. Izuku emerged moments later, wearing Hisashi's radio shirt. It seems like you've lost all rights to that sweater, Sashi. Shouta shoots him a cheeky grin when he gets an elbow to the side, and Izuku settles on the couch next to him, homework in hand. It isn't long before the cats join them, radio sitting on the kid's textbook and meowing loudly for attention. Izuku smiles softly at that and puts down his pencil to give her the attention she does not deserve. They sit there like that in comfortable silence until Shouta feels a small weight settle against his shoulder. He looks down at Izuku and finds the kid half asleep against his arm, one hand buried in radio's fur. Alright, problem child, I think it's time for bed. Izuku nods and gets up slowly, tiredly shuffling to his room. Shouta makes a stop in the kitchen for some painkillers before following. Take these, they will help with the pain. Izuku complies and slumps over in bed, eyes drooping. Shouta gives him a small hair ruffle before leaving the room and rejoining Hisashi on the couch. His husband is finishing up the last of his markings when he sits next to him. Why are you so much better at marking than I am? Shouta eyes his large stack of paperwork that still needs to be done. Don't worry about it, Joe. I'll help you finish it tomorrow. With that, Hisashi is pulling him to his feet and to their bed, pulling him in close as they get settled. Shouta wakes up a little over 2 hours later when he hears a loud thump in the next room, Izuku's room. He extracts himself from Hisashi's grip and throws on a shirt that's laying on the ground before rushing to the kid's room. Freezing in the doorway, Izuku is curled up, shivering on the hard floor, blankets and sweater abandoned. The thump must have been him falling from the bed. Izuku. He looks up from his position on the floor, and the sight breaks Shouta's heart a little. He's clearly distraught, face covered in tears, and snot as he tries to gain control of his breathing. There's fresh blood on his bandages that cover his right wrist, and he clutches it tightly in his other hand. Shouta approaches him slowly and crouches down in front of him, making no other moves. He hesitates a moment before speaking. Was it a nightmare? A nod. Your mother? Another nod. Want to tell me what happened? Izuku shakes his head, but speaks anyways. It was back at the hospital. She was using her quirk and it hurt, and then I woke up and it still hurt, so I thought I was really back there, and Shota's hand on his head stops him, and he dissolves into more tears. They stay like that for a few minutes, before Izuku is uncurling and sitting up, looking exhausted and ready to fall back asleep. How about we go to the couch, and I take a look at that arm? Izuku doesn't answer. He simply stands and heads out to the hallway. Shouta follows him, taking a moment to grab the first aid kit from the bathroom. He finds the problem child sitting on the couch. He hardly reacts when Shouta sits down next to him, simply holds out his arm for him. He sets about slowly unwrapping the bindings, and frowns at what he finds. A few of the stitches had popped, and the wounds are practically radiating heat. Could mean the start of an infection. Shouta rushes up to feel the kid's forehead and frowns, feeling it too warm for his liking. While Izuku leans into his cold touch, eyes closing, he pulls back his hand to stick a thermometer in Izuku's mouth and starts carefully cleaning the cuts before wrapping them back securely. The thermometer is done by the time he is, and he frowns again at the display. 38.9 Celsius. Not ideal, but nothing he can't deal with at home. He looks back up at Izuku and finds him staring at him. What is it? What are you wearing? Shouta looks down at his shirt and blushes. He grabbed Hisashi's shirt by mistake in a rush to get to Izuku's room. It's just Hisashi's shirt. Grabbed it by mistake. Izuku gives him an odd look at that, but he decides not to dwell on it too much. Shouta packs up the first aid kit, leaving out a cold compress, and returns to the bathroom, grabbing some ibuprofen on the way out before stopping in the kitchen for a glass of water. "Eat these and drink this." Izuku accepts them wordlessly, shaking hands, threatening to spill the water. He doesn't. And when Shouta pats the spot next to him, he lays down, head resting by Shota's legs. Shouta snaps the cold pack to activate the chemicals, and places it gingerly on Izuku's head. The kid sighs in relief once the coolness hits, and is asleep soon after. Shouta follows suit. So, no, you did not get it mistaken last chapter. I was like, oh no, my outro got muted. What the fuck did I say for the outro? I now realize why I couldn't remember what the outro said, because I was going to summarize what I remember that I said at the outro in the comments. I never recorded my outro. I never did an outro. I check, and it's completely blank. There is no outro. There never was an outro. I hope you know that when the video just out of nowhere cuts into just absolutely nothingness and darkness, and there is no audio, that is not you missing part of the story. Do not worry. That is me being stupid and not recording my outro. We love that. Love, love, love that. Let's talk about this. Obviously, this is where they find out that Izuku has selective mutism. I'm still super fucking sleepy. Selective mutism. Clearly, we have a little bit of Izuku having probably an infection, considering he's having a fever, which is not good. It is not good. It is alarming, but I'm pretty sure major character death is not a thing, and we're just 10 chapters in. No, we're not. We're more than 10 chapters in. We're 11. I can't count. My bad. We are 11, right? Yes, we are 11. I just had to check, because sometimes I don't remember what chapter we are on. Okay, well, that's really much all I wanted to say. This is short, but yeah. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.